What's going on, guys? It is the Bearded One, and I'm back with another beer review. Today we're doing a very interesting beer that became even more interesting as I read up on it. It is a Richters Pils out of Goat Island Brewing Company in Coleman, Alabama. I don't know why I brain farted on that. Goat Island has been a brewery for some reason or another I've just slept on. I've not taken them serious. It has nothing to do with them being from Coleman. It's just, you know, everybody has their favorite breweries, and I guess I've been so enamored with other breweries and chasing their beers and their exclusives, and I've overlooked a brewery like Goat Island. And I want to say I tried a Goat Island beer for the first time ever in January. It was late January at Buffalo Wild Wings. I don't want to say the beer just because I plan on reviewing the beer at a later date, but I liked the beer so much that I bought a 6-pack of it for the Tyson Fury Deontay Wilder fight, the rematch in February. And again, even in a can, it was really good. So I found this in a single. I'm not like the world's biggest fanatic on Pilsners. I know Pilsner is the most popular beer style in the world. And I think that says a lot about the style. It's very accessible. This is like the #1 go-to style I would recommend for a newcomer. Not to get ahead of myself, but yeah, I think I got a really interesting beer. Just to go ahead and segue into this. This story has an interesting background. So a local merchant from Coleman found a handwritten beer recipe in the attic of his old downtown building in Coleman. The recipe turned out to be from William Frederick Richter, owner of Richter Saloon in the 1800s. I guess Richter Saloon was around in Coleman in the 1800s. And they it doesn't say here, but it says on the back of the can that they translated the English and Old German, and it was this recipe, and now it's become their flagship beer. So hopefully this is what the beer would taste like in the 1800s. Not only am I a beer nerd, I wouldn't say I'm a history buff, but I have a fondness of history. I have a fondness of traditional beer styles. So just something like this just kind of checks off everything I like about beer. And so I'm really excited to try it. I've never tried the Richters Pils. I've only tried one beer from Goat Island. I don't want to disclose that, but I didn't look up the ingredient list, but I did look up, their description of what's in it. Obviously, there's Pilsner malt in here. You can't have Pilsner without Pilsner malt. And then I'm thinking they use the German noble hops. I don't know what German nobles, nor am I an expert on German nobles, but this seems to be a true to style Pilsner. Hopefully the exact one they were making in Coleman in the 1800s. Coming out pretty light for a Pilsner. I find Pilsners to just be a tinge deeper yellow. So, for example, a Miller Lite. I feel like Miller Lite is the quintessential Pilsner in America anyways. And I find this to be a much brighter, very bright yellow. It kind of even goes straw, very bright straw on the outside. Very carbonated. I mean, I'm sure you can see it on camera. Very, very carbonated. Very volatile. I'm impressed with the head retention on this thing. It's a very dish detergent, soapy type foam. It's holding up very well. You know, I did pour it semi-aggressively to get some head on it, but it's holding up very well. Some additional background on this beer. This won gold medal in 2017 in the Pilsner category in the Alabama Beer State Championship. And it won silver that year for best of beer for the total show. In a BJCP tournament, it would be best of show, but I think they just said best of. Not that that matters. That does it for, I mean, it's murky, you know. Again, if you've been following me for a little bit, I have my own customizable clarity scale. It's nothing official, nothing I've read online. It's just my own jerry-rigged vocabulary for clarity in a beer. This one I would say falls along murky because I can semi see through it, but again, it's, you know, it's very cloudy. There's chill haze in here for sure. With it being a Pilsner, I'm not concerned about drinking it at 50 degrees, so I can take every note. Pilsners aren't supposed to be the most complex beers in the world. They're meant for drinking, refreshment, and just having a good time. Head dissipated, I consider at a very, very, very slow rate for a Pilsner. Just great foam, great head retention. It gets me excited about this beer. One last thing, it is 5.6%, so like every other Pilsner out there, it is pretty sessionable. This thing is sweet. Wow. Sweet and malty. I would say I get a little bit of apple here. I'm still trying to memorize all the beer off flavors and get really good at that. I feel like that's the first thing I really need to hone in my preparation for being a BJCP judge. But there's a beer off flavor that produces an apple-like component. Now, I'm not going to say that's what this is that off flavor, because it's delicate enough that I think maybe it's intentional in like a Pilsner. If this was a stout and I'm smelling apple, that's an off flavor. But in a Pilsner, I don't know, maybe they were going for apple here. I definitely get like a very dainty, fruity appleness, appley pear thing. The water's a feature here. Yeah, sweet, crackery, malty, and then just that faint, like, to me anyways, maybe you get something different. To me, I get like a faint apple pear thing going on. Is it an off flavor? I don't know. But to me, the aroma is beautiful. I'm very impressed with the aroma here. I had a sneaking suspicion. I didn't want to say this on the nose and then it not be there on the palate. There's definitely a big, huge floral presence here from the hops. I'm going to assume that's from the hops. You don't get like a floral, earthy thing from malt. Gorgeous, complements the beer. Gives this Pilsner something unique from, say, a Miller Lite. I am noticing there's some lacing going on. So yeah, that I'm not sure what that is. Like, just what's giving off that apple pear vibe. Now again, this isn't overly fruity. This isn't like apple juice or anything. It's just excuse me. It's just like just a dainty, fainty ride that kind of coasts through the beer as you're tasting it, of apple and pear. And it dances in the beer so well with that floral and slight earthiness from the hops. That just a little bit of bitterness, carbonated as it's coming up. Very carbonated, very prickly. Not so extreme as to say like a soda, but definitely it is carbonated. I mean, it's coming up. But what I was saying about the flavor profile, you do get that little bit of bitterness in there, but it's typical Pilsner bitterness. If you've had a craft Pilsner before, and craft Pilsners are different than, say, again, a Miller Lite. I keep going back to Miller Lite. I'm not sure if Coors or Bud Light are Pilsners. I'd have to read up on what those beers are, but I do know Miller Lite is a Pilsner. So I just keep going back to that. Just an easy mainstream reference, I guess. So yeah, it's got like just a standard bitterness, relative to any other craft Pilsner out there that's not overly hopped. Because you're going to get the guys that want to overly hop a Pilsner, because this is America and this is what we do. We over hop our beers. But here I find it very complimentary, very indicative of the style. Crackery malt. I wouldn't say bready so much. It's definitely a crackery malt for sure. This isn't the thinnest beer I've had in the world, and with it being a Pilsner, I'm quite surprised. I'm impressed. I am definitely impressed. Because it's not thick and chewy and out of style in terms of viscosity and the body on this thing, but it's not so thin and watery that I would compare it to the Miller Lite. I mean, it's definitely got for a Pilsner, it's got a little bit of a body on here. I would say light leaning to medium viscosity here. I think the darling of the show here is just that great, robust, floral flavor profile from the hops. Whatever hops they're using, whoever wrote this recipe, I don't know if Goat Island tweaked anything to perfection or if they left it as is. But whoever wrote this recipe and whoever may or may not have tweaked the recipe, they knew what they were doing. This beer is beautiful. I'm sorry, I can't get enough of this beer. It's a really good beer. Recommendations. I think obviously newcomers are welcome to try this beer. If you can get Richters Pils from Goat Island Brewing, this is it. You Bud Miller Coors people, this is your Bud Miller Coors killer right here. I love Miller Lite, and for years, I still stand by this, but it's not so much important to me anymore, even though I believe it to be true to this day. Of the Bud Miller Coors, I believe Miller Lite to be the most flavorful, macro lager in the world. I really do. I think for a light macro lager, that beer is plenty flavorful. But this kills Miller Lite for me. I love that floral complexity. There's enough that earthy kind of. It's almost like you're tasting the soil the hops were grown in. I love. I feel like I'm getting the whole experience of the hops, the story of the hops in this beer. I feel like I can taste the soil and the grass that the seeds, or however you grow hops, blossom from, and then I get like the floral blossoms, in here as well, and it's just a beautiful beer. I can't say enough about it. Rating. I've been brewing a rating in my head. I'm gonna have to give it a 5 out of 5. And I kept trying to find every excuse to give it a 4.75. But it just got to a point in my head as I was sitting here thinking, if all I'm doing is trying to knock it down from perfect to just semi world class, which 4.75 for me out of 5 is still a world class, excellent beer. It's just got to be a 5 out of 5. I was contemplating, is there too much bitterness for me? What's my preference on it? Because I'm grading this on preference. I'm not grading this against, is this the perfect Pilsner? How does this compare to whatever Pilsner? I'm just grading this on preference, and this is it. This is the Pilsner for me. Goat Island is fan-freaking-tastic. If I need a summertime beer, I don't need to go any further than Coleman, Alabama at this point. Second beer I've had from Goat Island, very, very impressed with what they have to offer. Will be reviewing more Goat Island this year in 2020. Can't say enough. Get you some Richters Pils. If you have Richters Pils in your fridge, stock up with some more during the quarantine. If you don't have Richters Pils in your fridge, you need to fix that quick. That'll do me for tonight. Until next time, guys, Richters Pils, Goat Island Brewing, 5 out of 5. Cheers.